Happy New Year's, everyone. No, this isn't going to be your typical New Year, New Me episode. This is more of one of those times where it's a beatdown. It is a beatdown, and not on you. It is going to be on me. So welcome back to Bulls and Barrels Company. Okay, so yesterday, guys, just to recap, I've been off work for about a week and a half. I think I got 3 days left of my Christmas vacation that I've gifted to myself. And in that time, you spend a lot of time alone and in your thoughts. I've been spending a lot of time designing for Bulls and Barrels and trying to figure out what direction I really wanted this podcast to go in. And I found myself really getting inside of my head, which is a very dangerous place for me to be. And so that kind of actually made me go into a funk a little bit, which is why last week you guys saw Dustin on the show, because I sat down to record an episode numerous times during the week, and I would sit down and hit start on the camera and then just completely freeze up and have no idea what I wanted to say. Even though I knew what I wanted to say, it just wouldn't come out. I was having a hard time articulating it, and then that only made me go inside my head even more. So I can't thank Dustin enough for sitting down with me. I know that it's not the easiest thing to be on somebody's podcast, and hopefully it wasn't too rickety or awkward for you guys to watch. But I feel a little bit refreshed. And yesterday I got to catch up on one of my favorite shows that Phil Haugen has, and it's his podcast, Be Your Best Horsemanship. And if you really like self-improvement or professional development sort of podcast, this is a really good one, because it's not just about horses. I mean, he really does take horses and he pulls professional development together. And whether you are into horses or not, I really do think that that is a resource that you can really pull a lot of value from. And he is just a cowboy from Oklahoma, so his voice is not terrible to listen to. He's not annoying. And I mean, his episodes are usually 30 minutes when he has a guest on, sometimes an hour, but all that to say, it is a really great podcast. And it's the one that I listen to every single Tuesday or Wednesday whenever he drops them. And it's always such a breath of fresh air to me. So yesterday I finally got to catch up, because typically I listen to him on my commute either to or from work. And when I'm not in that commute, I tend to fall off of my podcast. So yesterday I took some time. I was sitting in my sauna and I got to listen to his last 2 episodes. And it was funny because the one that I listened to first was being committed to progress versus comfort. And before I even pressed play on that episode, it brought me back, because a few years ago, I want to say in 2023, maybe 22, getting old, memories not there, I actually got to get on a phone call with Phil Haugen, and that was like meeting a superstar for me, or you know what I mean? It was great. All right. Before the phone call, I remember because I was at work, I brought myself in a classroom that nobody was in, and I was doing breathing exercises, because I was you can't fangirl on the phone. This is a phone call that you reached out and requested. So a little backstory. Blue, which someday I really would like to go into that really in depth with you guys when I'm ready. But I've been trying to train this horse, Blue, for years now, and I've had him trained, and then just things fly off the rail. It's a mess. Anyways, so I just got done putting him through Phil Haugen's foundation course. And I went to put my first ride on him, And he was doing great until he wasn't, and it ended with me getting tossed 10 feet in the air and ended up as a pile of human in the arena. And so it kind of like that scared me, obviously, because that was a pretty nasty accident. And so I wanted to take it slow. And so we started over again and put him through the whole program again. And then came the day to try doing another first ride on him. And my husband and I were actually walking down from the barn to the arena. And out of nowheres, this horse just ripped away from me, full tack, and just ran through the fence, which all I have is electric. He did not get hurt, but he ran through the fence and back into the barn. So he went like the long way around. And I just, in that moment, was so defeated. And Dustin was like, "You're not getting on him." And I was like, "No," I was like, "but we should go get him and bring him down and at least do something so he doesn't think that taking off like a wild man is going to solve all of his problems." So, but after that session that night, I was just kind of sitting, and I'm very quick to going internal into my own head and really just beating the absolute heck out of myself. Sometimes it's like you would never say the stuff that I say to myself to like your best friend. You know what I mean? Um, so kind of like in a moment of just like, do I just sell him? What do I do? Because like I feel like I'm doing all the things and it's just nothing's working. So I went to Phil Haugen's website and I sent just a little inquiry, because you know how they have like the contact us form, not actually thinking that I would get a response from Phil Haugen. It was more of like I am so frustrated and I don't know what to do. I've been purchasing all these, training things and working through it. And like we have moments where things are great and they work really well. And then, it's time for the ultimate test and everything just falls off. So just talk about frustration. Anyways, the next day I ended up getting an email from Phil scheduling a phone call or a visit, as he likes to call them. And I was like, full panic mode, because I was like, I didn't actually expect a response and I got one. And so I immediately sat down. I was like, okay, I need to plan out all my talking points. Because another podcast I listen to with Fallon Taylor is she always talks about you want to have your elevator pitch ready. You never want to, run into or, have an opportunity like this and then have nothing ready. So I wanted to make sure that I had all of my issues laid out, all the things that I've done, the questions that I have, and just so that way I had some sort of a guide, because I really didn't know how this visit was going to go. And I want to say the phone call was 30 to 45 minutes maybe. And we talked all about my issues. He also talked about just how dangerous, at the end of the day, how dangerous this is. And to really instill in me that if it ever gets to the point where I feel like I'm going to get hurt, to not be afraid to reach out to somebody nearby, somebody that I trust, and, to try to help through that process. But his big advice to me that day was, a horse like this, who just kind of explodes, like he definitely is having issues where I think he allows things to build up and then they all just kind of come out at once. So all of his insecurities start to pile up until finally there's a blow up, and usually his blow ups are very big. So his advice to me was to start our training sessions just in a stall, in a nice safe space, and then into the barn, nice safe space, and then into the arena, nice safe space, and then take him outside the arena and just slowly, build him up so that way we lessen this huge blow up that could potentially happen. But then there was something that he said, and out of the entire conversation, this was the the line that I held on to the most, and it actually for the longest time was my personal Facebook like banner blurb that goes underneath like your photo, you know how you can type in whatever. And it was, are you interested or committed? So he asked me, are you interested in training this horse, or are you committed to training this horse? And one thing that I will say about Phil is he's very much a no BS. Like, he just says it, right? Like, I mean, this man was talking to me while working a horse. So for him to have given me even a sliver of his time, right? Like, you know, when he said that, I kind of was like, man, like, it kind of, I was in the interested phase. Like, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. My level of consistency wasn't really there. And it's still, honestly, it's to this day, it is what I am working on the most, is my consistency to show up every single day, no matter what, especially this time of year is the hardest for me. I mean, even yesterday, I told myself, I was like, it is cold, it is blustery, the snow is coming down, but I still want to work the horses. I still need to get out there and at least walk them for 15 minutes and then do some corrective exercises with them. I need to do something, even though it's nasty out. And guys, I'll be honest, I was doing my chores and I was listening to the wind just whip the side of the barn. And I was like, nope. But what I did do is I pulled one horse out and I worked on my mare. She's not very good at stepping on wooden platforms. And that was one of the exercises that was in the program for the week. And I knew that that was going to be a fight. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to pull her out and we're going to work on stepping up and down off of this wooden platform. And so I spent about 15 minutes doing that with her and then put her away. But there it is, though, that me going into that safety mindset of, oh, it's too cold, right? It's too cold. So that circles me back to, you know, am I just interested or am I committed? Because, you know, a true horsewoman probably would have been out there, maybe. Honestly, that's a really good poll. If I have any horse people watching this show, put in the comments if you would work your horses when it's 20 degrees, winds blowing, and it's snowy. I'm just curious because we've got, I mean, I know that upstate New York is not the worst conditions. Like I know Canada, Montana, Wyoming. I know you guys are probably seeing worse, okay, or comparable. I'm just curious. And now, mind you, I don't have an indoor. So would you be out working your horses in that? Just going to throw that out there. But so anyway, so now circling all that back, when I read the title of that episode, it just brought me back to that conversation when he asked me, are you committed or are you just interested? So I was like, this is that episode that I need to hear, especially as we're going into the new year and it's all this fresh, you know, who knows, you know, everything always feels so whimsical and anything can happen. And I've been in such a funk. I'm like, I need to listen to this episode. And so the topic of this episode was really about what separates the winners from the whiners, right? See what I mean? He's very straight shooter, no BS. And he talks about a philosophy that we compete from the neck down, but we win from the neck up. Right. And I don't want to spoil the podcast episode because I do hope that you guys go and listen to it because it is a very good message, whether you're into horses or not. But in essence, he has two interns in, two young women, and Oklahoma was experiencing some high winds and it was very cold. And he pretty much told the girls, like, this is where you're going to find out if you got it, you know? So they went out and they rode their set of horses for the day. and got covered in dirt. They were cold, but they still got the job done. And also, provided very good value to those horses, because he was talking about how they kind of like, they obviously kept getting a little distracted. They weren't really listening a whole lot with the cues, but they also need to learn that when there's a lot going on, that they still need to listen to what you have to say. So he talked about how maybe like, was it pertinent? Like, would their progress have been any further behind if they didn't? No, probably not. But it still provided a really good opportunity for not only the trainers, but the horses. And, listening to him talk about, that, I was thinking if I was in there, I probably, like, being home, right? Yesterday, it was blustery and windy and cold. And I mean, I dug out Dustin's snowmobile goggles. I'll then put a picture that Joy posted from between the reins. She was riding her horses with a stocking hat, goggles, a gaiter, winter coat, gloves, and winter pants. And so I dug those out and I was like, I'm gonna do this. Like we are doing this. And then of course I didn't, right? I think my natural habit is, oh, it's nasty out. Can't do that. But in upstate New York, that's going to literally be every single day if I go. Like if I use that as an excuse, like 98% of the time, the weather in New York sucks, whether it's the winter or the summer. Summer, we're going to get monsoon rain. And in the winter, it's just going to be cold and snowy and blustery. It's a win-win. I don't know why I still live here. No, I do. I do know why I still live here, but just, I don't want to. Anyways, so what I decided in that moment, because in the barn, after I got done working the mare, I was kind of like disappointed in myself. Like I had that like let down feeling, because I want to be able to get on here and show you guys, like, always, this is what I did. I was out there in the snow and just straight killing it. And when I got done working with her, I just, sat there on the edge of the stall and I was looking at the second horse I wanted to work, which was Blue. And, he's just ripping away at his hay pillow. And you ever get like that solemn, quiet feeling where you're just like, man, like I really should. And I didn't, obviously. And the level of disappointment that I felt in myself was enough for me to be like, you know what, we need to have a plan. So I know myself well enough that going out when it is in the 20s or below, snowing and the wind is whipping, that's not a win for me. Like, I'm not going to enjoy it and I'm going to want to rush it. I'm going to get frustrated because I am Italian and I'm Italian, so I have anger problems and I'm having a lack of sun right now. So as Dustin discussed last week, anger problems live here, okay? And I want to make sure that I'm setting myself up for success as well as setting them up for success. And so one thing last night that I kind of figured was I need to have a backup workout for my horses that I can do inside of my barn. I do have an open barn concept. So if I were to really clean things up, I could have a pretty good area to be able to do some of those corrective exercises from Jack Blue's books. And so I want to sit down today, actually, and develop my inclement weather plan, and just have a list of exercises that we spend working on. And then that way, when it's like the nice calm days, like today is actually like, we got pounded with snow last night, but it's pretty quiet. The sun kind of keeps peeking out. This time of year, New York stays under a constant cloud cover, but every once in a while, the sun winks at us. So we got a little bit of sun going on, but it's quiet. There's no wind. A day like today, I will absolutely get them out and do full workouts. but I'm thinking I need to have a contingency plan, because not only do I have to work with myself, but I have to work with them. So leave a comment below if you think that this is too much of a compromise, but I do think doing something is better than doing nothing. And what I've learned reading all of Jack Blue's stuff is that even doing the littlest things is better than them not doing anything. So that is going to be my plan to hopefully help not be a whiner, but be a winner, as Phil put yesterday. But anyways, I hope that that brings you guys a little bit of inspiration as I just beat myself down a little bit, but also lay out what my plan is going forward. I think I have a pretty good setup as far as the barn goes, because like last night I was able to walk her up over the platform and then circle around and do it again. In worst case scenarios, I could have one barn door open and kind of extend it, but I can easily set up a little bit of pull action and just work on something to get them engaged. And then on the good days, take them out and ride them, right? It's the best. I think it's the best I got. Because also too, I really don't know if it's necessary to be out there like it was yesterday. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm being a whiner. I'm being a whiner right here in front of you guys. Anyways, so next to me, the other thing that I wanted to share with you guys is something else that I actually learned from Phil last year, and I think it is a super good idea. And I do it on both calendars. So I typically have a small calendar that I hang up in my office, and then I have a big one like this that I hang up in my barn. And I try to keep them separate. So last year when I was chasing my pilot dream, my inside one was all focused on all the stuff that I needed to do to prep for my pilot tests and stuff like that. And then the one out in the barn is how I track all my deworming, when my horses' appointments are, when the farrier stuff needs to be done. And also, Phil shared a really good way to kind of gauge your level of commitment to your horse training or just riding in general is he keeps a calendar out, and for every day that he works with a horse, he makes some sort of a mark. And I've been doing that for the past year, maybe year and a half. And it's a really great way to, one, when you check things off, I think it does something mentally. You feel like you've accomplished something. I do checklists all the time. I used to get picked on at work for it because I used to keep a whiteboard and I put all of the tasks that I need to do and I will check them off. It just does something for me mentally. It gets me excited. It makes me feel accomplished. And, if it works, right? So doing that with the horses is a really great way. So normally, like, 'cause I have 3 horses, I give them all, one horse is a check, one horse is a star, one horse is a circle. So I can kind of just keep track of who I did what with. And it's a really great way to, by week, month, year even, to see exactly how consistent you were and how much work you put in. And I'm going to be honest. So looking at the one that was inside with all of my pilot stuff, that one was very, very well. That one's marked up. I really went all the way. You can tell that my focus this year was definitely geared towards my pilot goal. And then you look over at my barn one, and I'll be honest, I don't see a whole lot of checks, stars, or circles on here. I got a lot of appointments. Looks like March I came in really hot and heavy. And then it kind of bled off in April. And then I don't know. I really don't know what happened. So to me, that tells me that I was definitely in the interested phase. In July, you can see that I had some clinics lined up. And in August, And then you can tell that I actually crossed off the clinic because I think at one point I was going to back out of it, which that'll be a story for another time. Yeah, so this right there shows me exactly why I did not reach any of my goals last year with my horses right there. So that is a really good tool for you guys to use if you're chasing any goals. The proof is in the pudding. Like, obviously, I did not do very much in the horse goals, if you will, because I always tier out what my goals are. I usually have career goals, fitness goals, and horse goals. So that's how I spread out, because I typically don't set just one goal a year. And you can definitely see that that one took a back seat. Now, the other thing that Phil mentioned, excuse me, is that he picks 2 words and he puts them at the top of his calendar. And that's kind of like, I don't want to say mantra, but these are like his focus for the year. So last year, mine was discipline and intentional. So I wanted to make my focus, like I wanted to work on my discipline and I wanted to be intentional with the things that I did. So not only did I want to show up, but I wanted to make sure that I showed up with intention. And that was my goal. And I wrote that at the top of every single month to start that. I wanted that to be what I was working on for the year. And yeah, I don't know. I think if I were to reflect on 2025, when it came to my career focus and becoming a pilot, I would say the discipline was definitely there. I studied really hard. I got the 99 that I was looking for. I was able to put a package together and to apply to my dream unit. And then I think after that, come like September, I feel like I completely fell off and lost sight of the things that really mattered. Around that time too was the huge thing falling out, if you will, that happened at work. And that kind of just, I think, ruffled some things for me. And then in August, that's when I ultimately, well, actually, September would be about the time that I started my work behind bowls and barrels. So I would say that that's something I want to work on this year, is definitely hone back in on the discipline, because motivation only gets you started. It's the discipline that keeps you going. And I know we've all heard that. Like, that is not a quote from me. That's nothing groundbreaking. We've heard that before, that discipline is the thing that keeps you going, right? The days that you're tired and you don't want to go to the gym, the days where you sat around at work all day and you were lazy, but you want to, discipline's what's going to bring you home and make you get out and take a horse out and do something, right? But I think this year I really want to focus on not only my discipline, but I need to keep like the momentum behind it going. A lot of things with me, if I don't get that instant gratification, I tend to just move on from it. And I can recognize that in myself. But everything takes time. Doing this podcast takes time. Designing in, really getting Bowls and Barrels Company out there, that's going to take time. Training a horse takes time. Everything just takes time. And I've never been a patient person. So I think this year, the 2 words at the top is going to be discipline and patience. That's what my 2 words are going to be. So I would love to hear what your guys' 2 words for the year are going to be that you really are going to work on and try to live into as this year progresses. So, but I think that is all that I have for you guys this week. I'm tired of rambling. tired of being myself down, honestly. Um, and I always like ramble at the end. So I'm going to try to hurry up and just end this one for you guys. So thank you guys so much for stopping by the show this week. Have a great rest of your week and get out there and earn that next ride. We'll see you guys next time.